All right. Do you guys do you guys think the Folds, like each one of you, Dan, George, yourself, and Mark, are good role models for like kids, or?
I would say so. I mean, I would say we try to be. Um, none of us are like into drugs or anything crazy like that. So, um, most of us are pretty heavily, based in our faith of Christianity, and we don't go around, bashing people over the head with our faith, but hopefully the music that we write and the way that we carry ourselves on in our daily lives can at least, showcase that. And I would hope that, nobody sees us and is like, whoa, look at those scumbags. I think most people could go, oh, those are pretty nice guys. So I don't know, you tell me.
All right. What like things do you like take into consideration when you're writing new music? Do you like think like what the age range of people who might hear this stuff is?
Um, sometimes it depends what we're writing for. If we're writing music that's just based on like us writing some really super heartfelt songs about things that have gone on in our lives or past experiences, I think we're just writing them to write them and write them in a way that portrays the passion of what we felt in that moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
In terms of like other songs that we've written, like songs for Ninjago or some of the pro sports teams that we've written for, I think that's one of those things where they'll give us some framework. Whoever's asking us for the song will give us some framework and say, hey, we want you to write this song, and it's gonna appeal to this audience. So write it accordingly. And we'll say, oh, okay, well, then we're gonna make it targeted towards that audience. But
Okay.
I feel like our last record that we had, we really tried to stick to what makes us most proud to write these songs. Like, how are we gonna write them and then feel the best about them at the end of the day? Like, what's gonna give that message to where we're throwing it out there for people to listen to it, receive it, and be like, wow, I'm really feeling this. And then at the end, we're still like, yeah, I'm proud of that. So hopefully that helps you.
That does if you found like a kid who's, let's say, like maybe like in first grade was listening to Fold music, would you be like, whoa, you shouldn't be listening to that stuff? Like if it's not like Ninjago, it's like moving past your future stuff like that.
Like they shouldn't be listening
Do
to
you
it?
think they should? Because I know I know your music's pretty clean. I mean, do you feel like any age, any a person any age could listen to a Fold album?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Like, yeah,
Good.
our music is all really clean. There's no swearing or any vulgarity or anything in any of our music, and all the messages within the songs are usually pretty positive. And if they're not positive, they're just kind of painting a picture of where we were at that moment in our life, where we kind of wrote that song. And the Secrets Keep You Sick album, Dan really was going through a lot because his mom had passed away right around that time, and so a lot of those songs, they have some like sad tones to them, but they still are uplifting, and they're still just portraying what he was going through at that time of his life. And I don't think that any of our music ever could be something that would be censored, or where you could say, well, hey, you're too young to be listening to this music. No, we appeal to any age range.
Do you feel like your religion is kind of a reason why you guys don't do stuff like that, or is it just your morals, pretty much?
Wait, say that again?
Do you feel like the reason you don't like cuss and have vulgar and dirty music is because of your religion, or is it other factors?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, I would say that it is all based on our moral character, but I think that on an artistic standpoint, even if we wanted to write something that was abrasive or needed to be censored, there's so many delicate ways that you can say something where you don't have to, drop the F-bomb or swear, and you can still get the same point across. And it almost, I think when you're trying to get a really passionate point across and then you are swearing, it just dummies it down.
Right.
You can still portray some real passion, and, whether that emotion is anger or sadness, you can portray that without swearing or without having some sort of negative connotation and it'll be more powerful if it's just done the right way.
Right. So do you think that musicians make good role models, or is it just some do and some don't at all?
Yeah, I would say for sure some do and some don't. Um, you know, that the question that you asked earlier about, like the rock star, glamour, there's guys that really abuse that, and instead of using their spotlight to do something positive, they do, drugs. They just are a horrible role model, and so they're not really utilizing that position that they have for good. They're using it for evil, whether they know it or not, and maybe they don't know it. So, but I also think that there are a ton of musicians that are the opposite, where they are good role models. I mean, you can, I'm trying to think, there's like, I'm trying to think who's the recent one. Oh, whatever, I can't remember who it is, but I know that, a lot of people in that, big role model position that are doing things positive are giving to charities and starting these, charities of their own, and like they're constantly giving back, because they've been blessed, so they're giving back to those less fortunate, which I think is a really, really positive way to use the fame and the spotlight that they have to show people like, hey, if you're blessed with, gifts and financial blessings, like you should give it back,
Right. So who do you think, like, oh, sorry, you have more to say, or
What's that?
did you have anything else to say on that subject, or?
No, I think I probably just would have continued rambling. So
Okay.
I think hopefully that answered the question.
I feel weird, like, I don't want to cut you off or anything, so, but,
No, you're fine.
okay, who do you think, like, the best role models for kids are, like, just in general?
Best role models.
Like, the best, like who a kid should look up to. It doesn't have to be, like, any specific, like, first name basis, but, like a teacher or something. Like, who do you think is, like,
Yeah, I mean, I think, teachers or, um, teachers, principals, anyone that's, living their life in a positive way and kind of giving back and not just, being selfish and only out for themselves. It's kind of a hard question because there's so many people that you could look up to, and, in any profession or all types of people, there are really, really good people, and then sometimes there are really, really bad people.
Mhm.
So it's hard to categorize who's a really, really good, person. Even like teachers, there are some amazing teachers that are changing, future generations to come of the kids that they are teaching. But there are also some teachers that are doing some really bad stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So you can't just generalize it. Oh, only look up to teachers. You know what I mean?
right. All right.
Hopefully that answers it. I kind of derailed your question.